My inner critic for myself used to say, I am a lazy failure. One of my keys to life, and still to this day, was learning to ask for help and not give a shit. Is
Oh,
this a non-cussing podcast,
Oh,
Gretchen?
I think no shit can work. I mean, generally speaking, there are other words we may not want to say on YouTube, but let's
Okay.
say that.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Academic Coaching Podcast, everyone, brought to you by the Anti-Boring Learning Lab. I am your lovely host, Gretchen Wegner, and this is the show where we dig into the craft of coaching students, from study skills to executive function strategies and the occasional business tip for those of you in private practice. Today's guest, who you see right here being my Vanna White, he has spent years building one of the biggest gathering places in the executive function world. And through it all, he's held on to something that I don't take for granted, and I hope none of you do either, which is that he has a genuine, palpable love for neurodivergent students and the parents raising them. It's really touching to behold, Seth.
Aw.
So, speaking of Seth, this is Seth Perler, who is an executive function coach and the creator of TEFOS, the Executive Function Online Summit. And I'm so excited we get to chat with you today, Seth.
Good introduction, Gretchen. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. So I am honored to have been a guest at TEFOS from the very beginning. And I can't believe that you're coming up on 8 years having done this huge summit.
Yeah, time flies. Life is a blip.
It is. We were both
Crazy.
joking about our grays. We didn't have
Yeah,
grays in our
yeah.
first videos.
Yep. 8 years ago wasn't so gray. Yeah, you and I have both been through a lot in 8 years, and it's
We
so cool to
have.
see you and all these different people I've gotten to know over the years, how their careers have changed and what they've been through in their personal lives, and then how their businesses or services or the way that they
Mhm.
serve kids has changed along with how the world has changed. So
Oh
it's
my
been a
gosh.
really interesting 8 years.
Oh, that's such a good point that when you started, so what year did you start?
2019, which to me doesn't sound like that long ago. Wait, was it
Right.
2019?
No, I
Yeah,
think it was
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah.
26. Okay.
So 19, and that sounds like not very far away, but that
No.
is like eons ago in the digital
Yeah.
world.
And in the digital world, and then we've had a big pandemic that
It was
jostled
pre-pandemic.
up
Yeah.
everything in education and
Yep.
beyond. So you've really been through it. Okay. And I do want to talk about what you've noticed over the years. But first, I want to
Hmm.
zoom back because some people may not know you at all. And so they don't know that you identify as a recovering lazy failure of a student. I think, did I see
Hmm.
that quote somewhere?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Will
Yeah.
you explain what that
Not
means?
AI. I wrote that. We were talking about that before. Yeah, I write my own stuff. Um, yeah, recovering lazy failure of a student. I think I had heard people throw around this joke, like they'll say recovering Catholic. I think I heard people say that many
Yes.
years ago, and I
Yes.
thought that was kind of an interesting way to frame things. And but that's where I got that thought. But it's like recovering lazy failure of a student. So my inner critic for myself used to say, I am a lazy failure. That's what I would tell my parents to get them off my back. That's what I would tell myself. So one of the things that happens to a lot of us neurodivergent people with ADHD or executive function challenges or 2E people or these just people who don't fit in the box is that we experience a lot of shame. We
Yeah.
cannot fit in the box. We try and it is extremely painful to human being on very deep levels. Well, part of the reason for that is that we can internalize messages. So one of the messages that I internalize is I'm lazy and I'm a failure. Two messages. I'm lazy and I'm a failure. The word fail, I just can't do it. It's too much. I can't do anything right. Like I really didn't know how to do what was being asked of me in the world. And I was trying my best. But what happens to a lot of us is we get to a point where we're trying our best and we get to a point where it's like, why even try? I know that I cannot meet the expectations of this teacher or this school or this parent or this setting or this sports group or this whatever. And Yeah, so I internalized I'm just a lazy failure. It was very hopeless. Like I didn't see my life going anywhere. And yeah, that's that. So I'm a recovering lazy failure. Yep.
How long did that story last in your life? And I ask because I'm about when you answer after you answer, I'm about to tell a story that about myself where it lasted way longer than I ever would wish for anybody. But I'm curious about
Mm.
you.
For me, it was until I was 22. And the reason
Uh-huh.
I'm sharing it in terms of an age is because I remember what was going on. So it probably started, I don't know, in like second or third grade. No shit. Second or
Wow.
third grade. Is
Wow.
this a non-cussing podcast,
Oh,
Gretchen?
I think no shit can work. I mean, generally speaking, there are other words we may not want to say on YouTube, but let's
Okay.
say that.
Okay. So, second or third grade, but it's just first grade I started getting progress reports like daydreams, does not try, needs to apply himself. And so I really started feeling bad about myself with some of this stuff early on. And then, yeah, when I was 22, I really started changing. I started executive function coaching myself, but I didn't know I was
Did you
already
really?
G coaching. Essentially, I basically was at a point in my life when I knew that if my life kept going in the direction that it had been going on this downward spiral, that I would not be able to do anything with my life. And when
Uh-huh.
I say hopeless, I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but
Yeah.
I'll just say for a lot of your listeners have been there, as
Hmm.
hopeless as you can be. I'll say it
Hmm.
that way.
Hmm.
And um, at that point in my life, I got to a point where I was like, I am going to do anything and everything I can possibly do to see if I can, quote, turn my life around, to see if I can stop this downward spiral and make something of my life. So that's what happened then. And when that happened, my the inner it's not that the inner critic of lazy failure stopped, because that's not how the brain works. That's not how neurons and neural pathways work when you've had a message ingrained in your brain that you've worked very hard to preserve for many years. It doesn't just vanish. But I but I didn't listen to that voice. The
Mm.
volume knob went from
Mm.
11 on lazy failure to 3 or 4, and then when I would hear it, it would fortunately start to get drowned out by more positive messages. Don't give up, you can do this. By that time, one of my keys to life at that point in my life at 22, and still to this day, but one of my keys to life and change was learning to ask for help and not give a shit. I'll say shit there.
Ah.
Like, to be like,
Uh-huh.
I don't care
Yeah.
if I'm going to figure this out. I don't have the tools. I don't have the skills. I don't know how to do life. I
Yeah.
don't know how to do life.
Yeah.
I know how to push people away from me. I know how to not keep friends. I know how to push my family away. I know how to be dishonest with other people, how to be dishonest with myself. I know how to try to make things look like a chameleon, like everything's going fine with me on the outside, but on the inside, I'm just depressed and anxious and suffering, and to live like feeling like a fake and all this stuff. Definitely an imposter syndrome. Like, I didn't have life figured out, but at that point, I was like, I know other people seem to have figured it out, and I would ask anyone and everyone for help with anything to everything. So much so, well, maybe I'll get to that later, maybe not.
Well, this your story, I think, I hope any
Um,
parents listening right now, it gives them so much hope. Because look, you went from that, which they are likely seeing in many of their neurodivergent kiddos, to
failing out of 2 colleges, almost failing out of high school, and how I felt about myself with my mental health. Yeah,
to having, as I said in the intro, I said one of, but I'm sure it's the largest gathering for executive function families and professionals in the known universe. Let's call it
in the known universe.
that. So, how did you go from that state to the start of TIFOS? That I know there's a lot of time there, and see if you can make it go fast with the jumps, the stopping points along the way, because I really want to spend
Yeah,
time on TIFOS. But
yeah. I mean, I when I say asking for help, I mean asking for help. Like that
Uh-huh.
became very core in my life.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't have an ADHD coach or executive function coach. I don't even know if ADHD coaches existed at the time, but I did have multiple therapists throughout the years, different types of support groups, books. I stuck my head in every book, these things called cassette tapes. Do you remember these, Gretchen?
I do remember them. I
Books
still
on
have one or
tape.
two.
Um, so, I just immersed myself in once I made a decision to sort of try to see if I could do something with my life, I immersed myself in anything and everything that I could do. That includes
Yeah.
meditation, that includes like different types of sports or things that I thought I would hate. I'm not much of a sporty person. I was more of a, like I
Hiker camper
like you,
person.
hiker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one overlap we have.
Yeah. So, but I would try anything. And
Mhm.
when I eventually went back to college, and had decided I wanted to be a teacher, like I went to all the office hours. I mean, I knew I would fail if I didn't.
Mhm.
Like, it's not like I'm like turn this corner in such a way where I'm like, oh, I'm so willing, I'm so motivated. No, like everything was a struggle. I worked 10 times harder than everyone in my classes when I went back to college. I mean, I went to a community college because I had failed out of the two colleges to like get my grades back up to go to Indiana University at the time. And so I like was just uh I learned to ask for help. And
Mm.
when when you ask for help, and I'm telling you with everything, like even to the point where I was having a talk with the parent about jobs and summer jobs and stuff like that lately, and that their kid wants a job but they don't have the executive function skills to do the things to get the job. Like at the time, like I mean, I was just tenacious. If I wanted a job, I would go into the place and not just turn in the application, but I would bug them to death to be like, how does someone get a job here? And that's the right question to ask,
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of just handing in an application, like being like, what does it take to get the job here? I like what y'all are doing.
Yeah. I love
Like,
that as a sentence starter. Just how does a person fill in the blank for what you want at that
exactly. That's what
establishment?
asking for
Yeah.
help is. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Go to
Yeah.
the hardware store. How do you fix this type of
Yeah.
thing? You use it in all contexts. Basketball. How do you shoot a free throw?
Yeah.
Like asking people who know how to do stuff. But I grew up, with that imposter syndrome and feeling like asking for help was not okay. It meant that I'm broken. It meant that I'm bad. It meant that
Yeah.
I'm unworthy. All those
Mhm.
deep things that were in there that I didn't understand. So, I proceed to start working with kids, fall in love with working with kids. I literally in Indianapolis was driving around a road called Spring Mill Road one day, and I was leaving my job. I had long hair at the time, flying out the window, driving this little Mazda stick shift, and at the time smoking a cigarette. So I got my stick shift, my cigarette, my hair blowing around the wind, and I had just been working with kids, and probably not good to be, but I wasn't smoking at the school, but whatever. I'm leaving and I have this smile plastered on my face. And I've been working there for about 6 months with kids. And I was like, every day I leave this job, I'm happy.
Mm.
And that moment, I was like, this is what I'm going to do the
Mm.
rest of my life is
Mm.
serve kids. So
Mm.
then I started, I didn't know there were other things you could do. I was just like, that means you become a teacher. But
Right.
now I know
Same
that there's a
here.
million
Yeah.
ways to serve kids. And I will serve kids till the day I die. That's what I love. It's what I believe in. It's what matters to me. And eventually went back to school and was asked to speak at Indiana University to represent my graduating class.
Oh, wow.
Now I had failed,
Yeah.
out of the two colleges, and they asked me to speak, and um, so it was, and I'll tell you why they asked me to speak. Also, here's a pro tip for you, and for those of you who have executive function struggles. When I said I asked for help, and I mean I asked for help, that education office at the School of Education at Indiana University, every person in that office knew me.
New
The
Year. Yeah.
dean, I had sat with the dean in the office multiple times, but my silly brain was just like, oh, this is the most important person here. They must know a lot of things. And he was a really cool guy. But I was like, I want to sit in that guy's office and pick his brain. but I was friends with the secretaries. I would say hi to them all the time. I knew all of them by name. I knew the people down these random weird hallways at Indiana University. I went in all those rooms, poked my nose in and said, "Who are you? What do you do? How can you help me?" Like, I just was like, I want to be a good teacher, and I will get nuggets from anyone and ever. And that, and for those of you that are not extroverted like I am, there's still your workarounds for that. So yes, I will say that for me, that is, one of my strengths that sometimes as a kid did not look like a strength, but in this context, being able to ask for help, so anyhow, I start down that path, and I am committed to serving kids. I taught for 12 years, and then I learned about executive function. And I always like complicated kids. I was that kid in school who was struggling and couldn't figure it out. And when I had kids in my classroom, I really understood them. And I would work with teachers sometimes who didn't get these kids.
Yeah.
And that would really anger me, because you watch a teacher like say little micro shameful things to kids and stuff, like I just said that to the whole class, like something like that small for a kid like me, or these kids I saw, like, can be really, really deeply, deeply, deeply painful and shameful, and can affect their whole day and affect how they feel around their friends at recess and all, because it's in. So I would see some of that stuff, but most teachers are awesome. But I didn't like certain things about certain schools that were super in the box, and the way that curriculum is looked at as this like step-by-step thing, but you have these little human beings that you are trying to help them find who they are, and you're going through something super prescriptive. It's the and things, and I learned as a teacher that things can look really progressive, but they may not be, or in whoever's hands they're in. At one point, I helped a school pick a math curriculum, and we ended up going with Singapore math. And the reason I chose that one, I had looked at all these different programs, maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 programs. That was the most boring linear one of all. But the reason I loved it is because for me as a creative teacher, as an artist teacher, like that for me is a great jumping off point. It gives extreme boring structure, but for like someone like me, it's like, okay, now I can totally play with that.
Right. And we need structure, because I'm similar. And so we need some kind of a structure to keep us on target with students. And then we're going to play all around it. I mean, that's what anti-boring is to me. But the structure keeps it so that a student can still track.
But when a newer teacher, a green teacher, comes in and depends on that structure and isn't empowered to use it as a jumping off point, and they learn in their career that you're supposed to just follow the directions. No, you are not. You're supposed to be a master of the content that you're teaching eventually. And that structure really is just training wheels for you. You are the artist. The teacher is the artist. So anyhow, I taught for a long time and found out about this executive function thing, and I was like, why is nobody talking about this? So in 2010, I left teaching and I started doing executive function coaching. There was no such thing as an executive function coach. People weren't really using YouTube much at the time, and podcasts. People were like, why would you listen to a podcast? Like, do you remember those days?
Yes,
like,
I do. Yeah, everybody, including myself, has one.
And I knew, and there was really no educators like on YouTube or doing it. Just wasn't, YouTube wasn't that type of thing, or it was just beginning to be that type of thing. But I knew that I like to read blogs. If you remember the blogs, Zen Habits was one of them.
Zen Habits, totally.
and I liked podcasts and I liked YouTube. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make some YouTube videos. I would put my cell phone at the time on an old broken tripod with rubber bands.
Yep.
And that's how I made my first YouTube videos. And but I think one of the things for anybody listening, one of the things for any of the professionals listening, is that I always, then and now, come from a heart of service first before anything and everything. oh, you should do YouTube videos this way or advertise this way, or your competitors are both. I'm like, I have a no competition clause. So Gretchen is
Mm-hmm.
not my competition.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
competition is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's a frame. I don't have competition. We're all trying to help kids. That's
Yeah.
my frame. But that's not BS. That is my frame. I'm not competing against you. We're trying to help kids. Like, there's no scarcity here. Just do your
Mm-mm.
job. Just serve from your heart. And
Yeah.
so I'm very glad that when I started changing my life, I had mentors and people that helped me learn about serving, about giving, about generosity. One big one for me was Seth Godin. And if anybody wants to follow his blog, which I believe he still blogs all the
He
time,
does.
and
He keeps
his
them
book.
nice and short too. Sometimes I
Yep.
think about him when mine are so long and I'm like, oh, I need to be more
Mm.
like Seth. But no, I'm serving the way I can serve, which is with lots of words.
Well, I read his stuff every day of my life for God knows how many years. And so there were some big people that were mentors, whether they knew it or not, and some that were literal mentors. But I learned to serve. I learned that that's where the magic in life is.
Mhm.
That's a big focus of mine still. So then I'm doing, 2010, I start doing the coaching. I have no business. I have 2 clients in
Mm.
like 8 months. And I'm like, if I don't figure this out, I'm done. I called every therapist in Boulder, Colorado. There was some booklet that had like lists and lists of pages of therapists, and I called all of them, and or everyone I could. That book was so marked up with
Yeah.
notes and stuff, and I called about 150 therapists.
Wait, hold up. Why were you calling them, for your own mental health or to see if they had
Oh, sorry.
referrals?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. No. So basically, I had a script. It was a paragraph long. And at the time, you'd leave voicemails for people. I'm calling them. I'd say, hey, my name is Seth Perler. I'm an executive function coach here in Boulder. I would love to meet you for lunch. I noticed that you specialize in adolescent therapy, whatever. Let's grab lunch sometime. And so I call these, whatever, 150 or so people. I got about 30 or 40 of them I ended up meeting.
Yeah,
The
that's
the rest just
awesome.
mhm.
Yeah.
So there's a coffee shop called the Laughing Goat at the time. We go meet up for coffee there a lot or something and sit down with the person. Some of these people I still know to this day. Now, out of that 30 or 40, maybe 10 or 11 of them started referring me. And I did not go in with asking for referrals. I went in with saying, I just want to see who they are. I don't remember where I got that frame from, but
Mm.
but I went in with a heart of, I want to be interested in them and be curious about them and just ask them
Mm-hmm.
about their practice. So we'd sit down and whatever. And then I just tried to get to know them and tell them what I do. And I didn't do anything. I had 2 clients, but I would use my imposter syndrome to say what I was trying to do. And about 10 or 11 of them started referring me, and about 3 of them started referring me all the time. It turned out that those were
Wow.
neuropsychs. I would not have known that 3 or 4 people out of
Uh-huh.
150 without making those
Yeah.
150 calls. That for me at the time, and it wouldn't be now, but at the time, that was one of my best ways to get great clients was through
Yeah.
neuropsychs. So,
Yeah. And
and
question
then
there, since we went down the business route, just a follow-up question. Um, how many strong referral partners do you think an academic or executive function coach needs to create, to kind of have a steady flow of clients?
I want to give you a good answer because I know that that's what people want, a concrete answer, but I don't think like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of drives my team nuts because they're all very data driven people. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, throw
Yeah.
spaghetti at a wall type person. I don't think like that.
Okay.
I just put my energy out there and let go. I really do
Mm-hmm.
that. But I know you need a concrete answer. It depends on like if the person giving you a referral is a neuropsych and you're an executive function coach and you're a
Mm-hmm.
good executive function coach that legitimately has a good relationship with that person, not a referral relationship, but
Right. A
you
real
guys know each
relationship.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't like BS stuff
Yeah.
in general. And it
Yeah.
may be longer and harder road when you don't do BS
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but it is the better road ultimately
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. But I would say how many people, I mean, if you have a neuropsych who's seeing people all the time and they're, I mean, I guess it depends. It depends on so much, Gretchen. It depends on how much, in
You want me to
America, what
let
do
you
you
off
need?
the hook here? Because I can't, because I'll just say that I often tell people you need three. Like shoot for
If
three
I, maybe
people
if you have,
who are referring regularly.
maybe if you, that's probably a good answer.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
why I perked up because you said there are three people who ended up being
that's
neuropsychs.
true.
So
That's
that's
true.
why I
There,
perked up. I was like, ooh, my rule of three.
that's true. Three or four of them started referring me all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we're in a situation where and you will get to the point if, to me, if you focus on service, and I'm going to use the example again of an introvert because I'm going to say someone who's extreme opposite me on introversion, extroversion, and you think that you're too introverted. No, 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 you're not. I know absolutely positively that is not true. I'm just using this as an example, but it's a fun one for me. But it is harder for an introvert to do, to get your foot in the door and get coffee with people, or if you're doing that or whatever. Don't do what I did. Do it your way and
Yeah.
trust your way.
Yeah. As long as
Trust.
your heart is centered around, as you said, being of service and being in your love and joy or whatever word works for you from a
There will
values
be so many
perspective.
families that would be like, I would never have my kid work with Seth. Seth's
Mhm.
too extroverted, too blah blah blah,
Mhm.
too whatever. And that somebody who's super introverted and really patient and kind and leaves a lot of, I mean, actually I do
Mhm.
leave a lot of wait time with my kids,
Mhm.
but I don't, I'm not on a podcast with my kids,
Right.
um but some people would be like, that energy is not for my kid. This person, and your energy is perfect for so many families. So
Yeah.
I just want to say, whatever your style is, stay true to it, because there's a lot of pressure to be something other than you are.
Mhm.
That is what's going to get you the best, most aligned clients, people that you're really serving, that you're loving your work, they're loving working with you. That's what you want. So anyhow, then I start doing this stuff in 2010, and then comes, I don't know what, I start getting on a couple of summits. I don't know.
Mhm.
And one day I asked Jason Hilke from the Happily Family Conference. Um, I was visiting my family. I'm like, hey, can you tell me about this? Because I've been on a few summits and I've been on a summit. Can you tell me how this works? Because in my mind, when I was on these summits, I started thinking, I want the world to know about executive function. People don't know what this is. So one of the good things about my ADD is my risk tolerance, very high risk
Uh-huh.
tolerance,
Uh-huh.
and my imagination. And when you tell me I can't do something, I just think you have a lack of imagination. When you say a kid can't do something, a system
Yeah.
can't do something, I'm just like,
Yeah.
of course the system can change. Is it hard? Yeah. Is it nearly impossible? Yeah. But can it change? Absolutely. We created it how it is now. Some idiots back in some room somewhere
Mhm.
made these things, like these things can change. They can and do change. So if they could make it how it is now, why can't other people make it better? Like, anyhow, I'm like, these summit things, you can reach so many people. My mission has been to serve the people I'm working with, but also to change education, change
Mhm.
the world as much as I
Yeah.
can, teach the world about executive function. So I get on a call with Jason, figure out the basics of this, and start piecing together how to do this. And then had my first one in 2019. Again, I'm reaching out to people for speakers, asking them to speak on a thing that doesn't exist, looking for heart centered people, people that I admired, that I liked what they were doing in the world. In this 8 years, I've had maybe three people that I've interviewed that I didn't like after the interview,
Mm.
or a year after the interview, whatever.
Yeah,
But
interesting.
and all of them had the same thing. And that was that they weren't really fully present. It was performative.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't stand that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just, I
hard.
know Gretchen and I know each other well. It's just like,
Yeah.
and you can hear Gretchen and I know each other well on this podcast. We're not performing it, but it's just, it's just gross,
Mhm.
like I'd be interviewing them and I'm like, hello, are you even, I don't say
Right.
that, but
They're
I'm
on
like,
their
are you,
track. They're doing their thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've learned to really, vet for now people who speak on it that are really coming from the heart, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that's the
That,
thing, that what comes from the heart goes to the heart. And
mhm.
so yeah, so then I started the thing. And so you asked me to give, I tried to keep it brief, but that's
It's
the, oh my
okay. It
God,
was a good
we're in it.
story.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were going to drop so much wisdom about heart-centered businesses here. So
Mhm.
I just want to snap, snap, snap as you're talking because everything you say about coming from the heart and being with professionals from a place of service is how I talk about building your referral network. And referral network sounds so kind of sleazy, but it's really a network of friends who you like to talk shop with.
Well, I could probably be, yes, I could probably be better at that, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you remember how we met? I've told the story a few times when you've interviewed me, but I don't expect you to remember. But it's related to the theme of asking for help and creating connection. So I just wanted to see if you remember. And if you don't, I'll remind you.
Remind me.
So one of my most important clients, her name is Olivia, and actually there's a whole advanced micro credential in the anti-boring learning lab of Olivia, of her sessions with me, unedited versions of her sessions. So she was just this extreme ADHD kiddo. And her dad, when he reached out for me, I asked, "How did you find out about me?" And he said, "Oh, I was watching some YouTube video. This guy mentioned that, oh, there's this lady who does something like anti-boring something, and she might be a good coach." And so you mentioned me for some reason in a video. And so I immediately had him send me the video and I watched it. I'm like, how did I get on the radar of this guy? And so I reached out to you and I said, hey, you mentioned me. Maybe we should get together and chat and just say hi. And that was, I think, a year before the summit, I think. So again, reaching out for no
Yeah.
reason other than let's connect.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
mentioning you for no reason other
And
than
mentioning you,
I
sorry.
genuinely liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I want to say that you've reached out to me for help from time to time. Once we
Hmm.
got connected in voice memo land,
Hmm.
I mean, so I've been the recipient of your asking for help, and it's been so connecting. We think we're so ashamed of asking for help, and yet it's the thing that connects people the most when
Hmm.
we can be of service to each other.
Well, we're sort of culturally ashamed of it, but the irony is that anybody who is successful in anything. Do you remember how bad of a free throw shooter Shaq was?
I'm sorry, basketball would not have been my thing. I'm proud
Okay.
I know who Shaq is, though.
All right, let me use another. This might be a more controversial one, but like I have a problem with Elon Musk and his
Hmm.
trillionaireism. He
Yes.
did not do this on his own. There is no such thing as a trillionaire. He did
Hmm.
not bring $1 trillion of value to this planet.
Hmm.
No way.
Hmm.
So he did that from tons of other people. Like anybody who is quote successful, athletes, musicians. You know how many artists, musicians, famous musicians can't keep a planner together for the life of them? They have people who are doing that for them. So they need help. And do you know any famous musician you like? They got vocal coaching, they got
Totally.
guitar lessons, they got, like
Hmm.
we get help, and
Hmm.
help helps everybody who does it. And I think that's something I really try to impart on kids. It's not only is it not bad to ask for help, it's cool as hell. It's awesome. If you want to be like the people you think are cool, do
Yeah.
what they do.
Do what they
That's what
do.
they do.
Yeah.
They do not do it without help. Everybody who's good at anything continues to grow. And I'm
Hmm.
I'm even going to talk about people like Eric Clapton, right?
Hmm.
Who's still growing and learning
Hmm.
as an artist. I'm just into guitar stuff for many years, but like they still continue to try to get better.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, it's why I admire the members of the Anti-Boring Learning Lab. So many people come just for the initial training and then they stay because they love being in a community of people, of educators who love to grow alongside each other.
Always getting better. You and
Yeah,
I, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so
All right.
TEFOS, you started
What's
this
TEFOS?
incredible summit, but yeah, why don't you tell people who don't know what it is? And then I got a bunch of fun questions about it.
Okay, so yeah, so I started this thing. TEFOS this year is TEFOS 26. It's the 8th year. TEFOS26.com or executivefunctionsummit.com. So I do like a free 4-day summit. And then I have, if you want to buy a VIP pass, I do like a lifetime access with bonuses and stuff like that. But what I wanted to create was something that A, could help teach the world about executive function, but B, that is practical and actionable. I'm very obsessed with making sure that parents, and it's for parents, but we have a lot of therapists,
Hmm.
ADHD coaches, and teachers that come. But the main audience, I want my speakers to speak to parents
Hmm.
about what parents can do to help their
Yeah.
kid. I want them to walk away with things they can do. They're going to walk away with some theory, they're going to walk away with some knowledge, but I want them to. The most important thing is a parent gets done listening to the session or to some sessions, they've taken some notes and stuff, and they have an action plan. They know, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. Not, oh, that's really interesting, that explains so much, oh, that's great, but that does not change your kid's life. What
Hmm.
changes your kid's life is when you learn something and you apply it.
Hmm.
Whether it works or not doesn't even matter. Try something else if that one didn't work, but that you apply new principles. Same with, again, we can say the musicians, sports, whatever, but you apply something and that is what's going to change your kid's life.
Hmm.
So I try to get, again, these heart-centered people who love kids and families who are giving on all different types of topics, but things that are under the umbrella of executive function. You have a kid, your kid struggles to get important things done. They struggle with this thing called motivation or procrastination or time management or planning or organization or blah blah blah. Either way, you know in your gut if you're concerned about your kid's ability to get important things done and how that might impact their future. So you've got this kid you love, you want to help them. I seek people who can give you actionable things that you can do under that umbrella of executive function and everything that's related to
Hmm.
that. One of the biggest things this year that's coming up over and over and over and over again with so many speakers is emotional regulation.
Yeah.
Emotional regulation is important every year, but this year it seems almost
Off
like
the charts.
off the charts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so good because people now can articulate, oh, my kid is
Hmm.
struggling. Well, they can use the
Hmm.
words with emotional regulation.
Hmm.
Now we can say that instead of
Hmm.
using like old shaming messages like get it together, control
Right.
yourself, like things like
Right.
this that just don't take into context that there's a nervous system that is
Yeah.
dysregulated.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about emotional regulation this year. But again, it's not just discussing it, it's giving parents strategies,
Yeah.
things to do.
Yeah. So I know you've probably had at this point over 100 speakers that you've
Mm-hmm.
interviewed,
Yeah,
right?
150 or 200. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a speaker that actually changed your thinking or that stands out in your mind as like, holy shit, we'll use that word again. I really learned something I didn't know.
Um, yes. So basically, two things happen every year. One, there's a bunch of little light bulbs for me.
Uh-huh.
So the way that so I'm going to say two sort of opposite things. One is that all the speakers say the exact same thing in different ways.
It's true.
And after years of doing this, that was such a relief
Yeah.
for me as the interviewer
Yeah.
to really piece that together that we're all
Hmm.
saying the same thing, because what that means is that a parent can start to create their own conceptualization of their child and their child's
Hmm.
brain and their child's life, and in a way that they can have their sort of their own framework after like getting immersed in learning about their kids, because it's sort of, to me it's sort of like they're universal truths. That's why, like, all these different religions and societies and cultures around the world have a lot of the same
Hmm.
underlying principles and stuff like that. So these universals in education are basically the same. And hearing it from different people, different models in different ways, they're all saying the same thing. So on the one hand, I'm hearing the same thing. And the reason I said it's going to sound the opposite is because on the other hand, I hear some nugget of wisdom that taught me from people, from you, from um uh yeah, there was somebody, Sucheta, she gave probably the best, I don't remember what year she spoke. She probably gave the best definition of executive function I had ever heard. Um, um, Debbie Reber, who I know well, she said
Yes.
things that have shifted me. So not one stands out,
Uh-huh. But there are tons of little moments. I almost
but
see you
there,
remembering, like your body remembers these moments of,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. And I think also the way my brain works too, like right now I'm in interview mode. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
interviewing 30 people right now.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I did two. Like I am so in it, like I can't even see straight. I can't
Yeah.
sleep right now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hit a depression for the 2 weeks after TIFOS. That
Mm-hmm.
happens every year. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am so like overwhelmed with interviewing them and being really present with them at the moment. But you asked me 5 minutes later what just happened, I'm going,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
what? I
Mhm.
need a nap. And then the next day I have an inbox with 5 million emails to respond to and my team and tasks building out the summit and all that. So, but I will say that to tie that up, yeah, I think that I hear the same thing and I get new nuggets every year from a good handful of them that for me it's like, oh, I love the way that you articulated that thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. I want to steal that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too overwhelmed to remember to steal everything. But
I know. You need somebody to go through and like just cut the nuggets out, but you won't remember them when they're over. Having done my own summit, I totally get it. So if this is 8 years, how many more years are you going to do
and
this
I
thing,
can't
man?
do it. Yeah. Do you know how great I might not even have teeth in 2 years? Like I'm gonna come and interview everybody like that. Um, I made a decision to now I may change that decision. One of
Yeah.
the good things about life is that, but yeah, I in my mind, I'm like, okay, 8, then 2 more. So this year, 3 more, including this year. And I think I'm done. I think my mission of trying to get it out to the world, I think I've done what I can do and I can let it go. And then to be able to take a break to you just went on a camping trip. Like I don't feel
Hmm.
like I've had a break where I
Yeah.
haven't had to like check my email and stuff for a couple years. Like
Yeah.
I and we built out the summit for months.
Hmm.
So and I also have other a million other projects. So I'll stop at 10
Hmm.
is what I'm telling you right now. Now, after this year, I might be like, I can't I need a break and I might not even do it next year. But that's my intention is to do 10 and
Well, if you
hang it
need a
up and
co-host, Seth, so that you
oh,
don't have to do as many interviews yourself, that's one way I could participate in the future is I could
I
just help
never
you
even thought about
interview.
that. It's funny because my girlfriend will say, she's like, why do you do so many things? You should
Yeah.
have such and such and it's like, when you start your own business and now I
Yeah.
have a little team, but you know, for those of us who start little businesses who aren't good at delegating,
Hmm.
like, why are you doing that graphic? Well, oh yeah, that's right. I have someone to
Yeah.
do graphics.
Yeah.
This is not worth it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
maybe I'll have you help me interview. Yeah.
yeah, let me know. I would be so happy to do
But I
that.
love that part of it. That's
I
the
know
fun.
you do. I loved that part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is there anything we're sort of in wrap up mode now? We've been chit-chatting for a while. Is there anything that you notice, like a memory that stands out about an impactful moment for you, or just anything else on your mind or heart that you want to make sure that people understand either about TIFOS or neurodivergent kiddos or business?
I don't know. I'll say again, moments with TIFOS that really stand out to me is
Hmm.
when it's going on, the Facebook group is really active.
Yeah,
And
it is popping in there.
I get a bunch of emails. Please don't email me. I cannot. I don't. I have to. is unsustainable. But I am in those messages every day, and seeing people have light bulb moments, and this is the same with when I'm working with kids, like that just does it for me.
Yeah.
Like when somebody's like, oh my gosh, this insight, you know, that's a moment for me that's fun for me. That's like
Mhm.
the fruits of the effort when people have a change. So that stands out to me. And as far as like other moments that really stand out to me, um, I mean, there's a million that I think of with. All right, I'll tell you. I'll give you one. It's again, it's not a moment. I had a kid who I'm still in touch with the family, and I love being in touch with families for years and years, and started working with him in seventh grade. This was a kid, his parents were like, he is not cut out for school. He is not made for school, blah, blah, blah. And he had a teacher in seventh grade. And then he had that same teacher in the eighth grade who just had it in for him, just didn't get him, didn't like him. I would go into advocate or go into IEP meetings or whatever. And this guy was just not, doesn't belong in the classroom type of teacher, just critical and rigid and all this stuff. So this kid, I'm working with him with the executive function stuff for years through high school. He's done with high school, didn't do well, got arrested, got in a fight with police officers uh, in high school, blah, 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 like all kinds of drama. And I love the kid, love the family, but for me and for the family, like always going back to the kid, like how can we help you? How can we support you? And how can we keep going from wherever we're at and build and yada yada. So this kid finishes high school, goes out, starts doing some things. He likes sports, he likes rock climbing, he likes surfing, he likes this and that, just likes being outdoors. He would refer to himself as a dirt bagger, which is, if you're familiar with rock climbing, these are
Mm.
the people that sort of started rock climbing that would just go out and like live in their van and just climb all the time. And so this kid did not go to college. He's 22 or 23 now. He lives the most adventurous life of any of the students I've ever
Yeah.
known. So we can think the college track, blah, blah, blah. I don't care
Yeah.
what you say. This kid is living. He's been all over the world. He has no money. He comes back home, works at a ski shop for a couple months, mows some lawns or whatever, saves some money, goes out, travels, gets lost, runs out of money, gets in weird situations, and goes and climbs and surfs and stays in tents or on the beach or in a bungalow or a cabin or something. He figures it out,
Mhm.
and he is living. He is living. He has a great relationship with his family
Mm.
because they did not try to change him. Thank goodness. You
Mhm.
know, they really he, they really just looked at him as this kid is who he is and how can we help him. He's
Mhm.
a very unique personality. So that's something, you know, when you ask for like a memory, again, it's not
Yeah.
one memory, but it's like this sort of like thing that encapsulates a lot of the kids that I work with is that you have this amazing human being in front of you and they are not on a traditional path. The traditional path is not right for them. Embrace it, find what they are good at, build on that. You got to work on the weaknesses to some extent, but not what we do in schools, which is a very weakness focused thing
Yeah.
where it's like, always strive to get better, blah, blah. It's like, no, strive to help them be who they are. That's where it's at. So that's sort of my response to your question.
It's a beautiful response. And I was maybe going to ask one more question, but I think we should just end
Well,
it
why
there.
not? We're here. Just ask them one more.
Well, I was gonna, it feels lame after that beautiful
Oh,
story
okay.
about acceptance. But I will say, because you ask all of us at TEFOS, but do you ever get to say, how do you define executive function, Seth?
Yeah. Yeah, I get to say it all the time.
But you
Well,
ask
it's
us, do you ever define it yourself during
yeah,
TEFOS?
sure.
Okay.
I do. Yeah. So It's how the front part of the brain helps us to get things done. It's anything and everything that the brain uses to help us get important things done. You and I are doing this interview right now. So we've had to plan, we've had to organize, we've had to pre-plan, we've had to get rid of distractions. The dogs are not in here right now. We have to prioritize this over the other things that we could be doing right now. We have to focus, pay attention. So all we have to regulate our emotions. Both, I'm sure both you and I have intense emotional things going on because life is lifey. But we are regulated, and we are here in this moment, regulated and executing on this task. So that's what executive function is. How we become more skillful at getting our brain to help us achieve the most important goals.
So that we can live our best, most aligned with ourself and with our community's lives that we possibly can.
There you go.
There we go. So TEFOS, this is coming out before TEFOS. Give us the dates. Give us the little commercial one more time, and then I'll say the link will be in the show notes for everyone.
TEFOS26.com, the executive function summit.com is August 14th through 17th, 2026 for 4 days free. And then we have an early bird sale that always goes on up until the first night. So up to the 13th, and then it's on sale during the summit. If you want the VIP pass, but it is a free weekend. You should definitely dive into as much of it over the weekend as you can. There's no reason not to. Tell your friends. Help me get the word out. TEFOS26.com. That's the best way people find out is word of mouth. So those of you listening right now, literally you telling somebody is very
Can
helpful
make
to
such a
get the word out.
difference. Yep. And we have 3 anti-boring learning lab speakers,
Sessions.
Krista Hopp, Edward
Speakers.
Coronado, and myself. So I'm really excited that we have infiltrated
Yes.
our amazing people in the lab. All right. Well, I know you have a
Amazing human
day
beings.
ahead of you over there in Thailand. So sending you lots of love into your day. And thank you so much for bringing yourself and your heart here with us.
Thanks, Gretchen. Take care.